Hey there. Have you ever heard of the Civil Rights Movement? It was a time in history when people came together to fight for fairness and equality for everyone. But what does that really mean? Let's break it down and learn about this important chapter in American history. The Civil Rights Movement happened mostly in the 1950s and 1960s. It was a time when African Americans and their allies worked hard to end segregation. That's a big word. That means separating people based on their race. For example, back then, black people and white people couldn't go to the same schools, eat at the same restaurants, or even drink from the same water fountains. Doesn't that sound unfair? But here's the good part. Brave people stood up and said, "This isn't right." They used peaceful protests, speeches, and even songs to demand change. One of the most famous leaders of the Civil Rights Movement was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He believed in using love and peace to fight for equality. His famous "I Have a Dream" speech inspired millions of people to believe in a better future. Another important person was Rosa Parks. In 1955, she refused to give up her seat on a bus to a white person. This brave act started the Montgomery Bus Boycott, where African Americans stopped riding buses for over a year to protest segregation. And guess what? It worked. The buses were eventually desegregated. The Civil Rights Movement wasn't just about one person. It was about thousands of people working together. Students, teachers, parents, and even kids marched, sat at lunch counters, and stood up for what was right. One of the most famous marches was the March on Washington in 1963, where over 250,000 people gathered to demand equal rights. But the fight wasn't easy. Many people faced violence, arrests, and even jail for standing up for their rights. Yet, they never gave up. Their courage led to big changes, like the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which made segregation illegal, and the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which ensured that everyone could vote no matter their race. The Civil Rights Movement showed the world that when people come together and stand up for what's right, they can make a huge difference. And guess what? The fight for equality and justice is still happening today. 5 fun facts about the Civil Rights Movement. The Greensboro sit-ins in 1960 were started by 4 college students who sat at a whites-only lunch counter and refused to leave. Their bravery inspired similar protests across the country. 2. The Freedom Riders were a group of activists who rode buses through the South to protest segregation. Even though they faced danger, they didn't back down. 3. Ruby Bridges was the first African American child to attend an all-white elementary school in the South. She was only 6 years old and had to be escorted by U.S. Marshals to stay safe. 4. The song "We Shall Overcome" became the anthem of the Civil Rights Movement. People sang it at marches and protests to show their hope and determination. 5. Thurgood Marshall, a lawyer who fought for civil rights, became the first African American Supreme Court justice in 1967. A famous quote from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." The Civil Rights Movement teaches us that even when things seem unfair, we can stand up, speak out, and make a difference. If you enjoyed learning about this important time in history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. And let us know in the comments, what's the most inspiring thing you learned about the Civil Rights Movement today? See you next time.